Welcome back to Tuddy Talk. This week we're going to be talking about each one of the divisions and ranking them from worst to best. And within each of those divisions, we will be ranking each team worst to best. At number 8, we have the AFC South. For this division, it's just about the worst. We have one decent team and the rest are up in the air. The worst team in the AFC South is the Texans.
Arguably the worst team in the league.
Arguably, honestly. They could surprise people with their brand new additions, CJ Stroud and Will Anderson. But when your wide receiver 1 is Nico Collins, it's going to be tough. Sorry, Texans fans. Next one, at 3rd in the division, we put the Colts. Indianapolis has a brand new quarterback.
Yes.
Anthony Richardson. He's not making great impressions right now. For fantasy, he'll be great. But in real life, not sure yet. Michael Pittman was anything but exciting last year. You can ask Matt Apple.
2nd round pick by Matt Apple.
Oh, yikes. And Jonathan Taylor was he was rough coming back from injuries. Let's just say that. At 2nd in the division, we put the Tennessee Titans. Would you like to talk about the Titans?
I would love to. The Titans just snagged away Matt Apple's best friend, DeAndre Hopkins. Derrick Henry is still a top 3 back in the league. Strong players, but a questionable quarterback situation and a pretty decent defense. They all come short to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the number 1. AFC South, they can make a run in the playoffs. I think they are one of the more underrated teams in the league. Trevor Lawrence is a rising superstar in the making. ETN is solid. Mm-hmm. You got Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, a nice little core. I really like the Jacksonville Jaguars this year.
Yeah, my only gripe with them is their defense. It was
ranked
raw.
27th in the league.
Yeah, it was raw last year. Let's just say that. They have a lot of young players. They just need to prove themselves.
The only good point about the Jacksonville Jaguar defense last year was Josh Allen fucking Josh Allen. The second to last division in football is going to be the NFC South, which has been debated for years of how putrid this division is and how Tom Brady raped this division.
The worst team in the NFC South we gave to the Falcons. Honestly, mediocre everywhere. Offense, defense, they're just not good. Pitts last year was useless. Okay?
All that hype.
If you're going to have a guy like Pitts, use him, right? It's not that hard. Mariota and Desmond Ridder were
mid.
So bad. Less than mid. Hopefully, Ridder can take a step this year. Drake London will need to step up even more.
Slight bright spot, though.
Yeah.
Bijan Robinson, we'll see.
Yeah. At 3rd in this division, we have the Carolina Panthers.
And the Carolina Panthers are just slightly better than the Falcons. I think their quarterback upside is a little bit higher than Desmond Ridder.
A little bit.
I think Miles Sanders was a great addition to their running back core. They add him a great veteran in Adam Thielen. And I think the Panthers are going to just fall short of the Buccaneers, who are 2nd on this list.
Yeah. Honestly, the Panthers, when you get rid of Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore within a year of each other, it's not going to look good. So yeah, they're 3rd in this division. At number 2, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They got a veteran quarterback. Usually when you say that, it's a good thing. This time, it's a toss-up. It's Baker Mayfield. We don't know how it's going to be. He's not looking great in training camp, but he's known for pulling some weird stunts. So maybe he'll come out and do pretty well.
Maybe he's feeling dangerous.
Exactly. Maybe he's actually dangerous. The Buccaneers also have an excellent defense. The top team in this division is the New Orleans Saints. They have a top 5 defense. Derek Carr will be reinvigorated after getting just shafted by the Raiders.
Yes.
Yeah, making his wife cry. Come on. Stay classy, Las Vegas. Jamal Williams is down there now.
Coming off Detroit Lions record. Mind you, Barry Sanders played for the Detroit Lions. Coming off a 17 touchdown year for Jamal.
Jamal was fantastic last year. I hope he can continue it. Outside of those two, we also have Chris Olave, who was just excellent. I don't even think of Michael Thomas anymore. I promise.
The 2 biggest question marks for this team is Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. What do those 2 have to deliver to the team?
Next up, we have the NFC North, the 3rd worst division in football. And starting at the bottom, we have the Green Bay Packers.
Vying for potentially one of the worst teams in football again. No, literally zero weapons.
Nothing. They have Jordan Love.
And Christian Watson.
On the ground, they do still have Aaron Jones, but he has said that he wants to get out.
Yes.
Like, he's not there all the way. And I don't blame him. They don't use him properly. But it's also hard when you have another running back in the backfield.
And it's also hard when Rodgers takes 3 of your receivers from your team.
Right. It's going to be a rough year for you. Sorry, Green Bay. At third in the division, we put the Chicago Bears. And honestly, their success depends significantly on Justin Fields. How will he develop in real life? Is DJ Moore going to come in and just elevate him to the next level?
Is Darnell Mooney going to show up this year?
Who knows? At second in this division, we put the Detroit Lions. They're hungry for success. If you watch things like Hard Knocks or any interviews last year, you can see just the culture that they cultivated there. It was really cool, really fun to see. Their team, it thrives on their head coach. They need any kind of adversity. Yeah, they can surprise some people. They have a pretty good defense too.
They have a great defense. I like Jared Goff. I feel like he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league. I think Gibbs is going to show up immediately on that team. And we forgot to list them on, sneaky wide receivers, but Amon-Ra St. Brown is still there.
Amon-Ra is
a stud. So Lions might dethrone the Vikings this year, but for now, we're going to leave the Vikings at number 1.
Yep, Vikings. Minnesota Vikings are number 1. They're honestly not the best team, but they're just better than everybody in their division. Their offense is going to be just dynamic with Jettas and Kirk and
Jordan Addison.
Addison, he's going to be there.
Madison, we're making
Addison
bars.
and Madison. Oh, shoot. That'll be fun.
Hawkinson.
Yeah, they were kind of overrated last year, and Lions might come out of nowhere and get them. But for now, that's where we're at with the Vikings.
I mean, to be 14-2 and then lose to the Giants in the divisional round,
For the next worst division in the league, so fourth worst, we have the NFC West. And that might surprise some people because there are some really good teams in this one.
And some really bad teams.
Yes, but there are just as bad teams. So starting at fourth, we have the Arizona Cardinals. This team
sucks.
They're in turmoil. Everything is going bad. J.J. Watt and DeAndre Hopkins are both out. Budda Baker wants out, your veteran safety. And Kyler, he hopes to be back by week 1, but who really knows? And even if he is, I'm not a huge fan.
Hollywood Brown is your number 1 wide receiver, and you have Rondale Moore. So
I'm not huge on the Cardinals. I would not bet on them to make the playoffs this year. At number 3 in the NFC West, we have the Los Angeles Rams. A couple years ago, they were the top of the league, but last year, injuries cost them hugely. They lost Cooper Kupp, they lost Matt Stafford, even Aaron Donald, one of the best players in the league, was injured from time to time.
They lost Bobby in free agency.
Yep. They lost a lot of people.
Lost Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. They're going to be tough this year.
And not in a good way.
Not in a good way. Yeah. Hopefully all the injuries are fully recovered. And that defense, we know what they can do. So let's see it. At number 2 in the NFC West, we still have the Seattle Seahawks. This team just got better with the draft. Their defense is going to be solid. That secondary is looking back on what they used to be. Last year was kind of a miracle run, but I think we'll do it again with Geno at the helm.
We added some offensive players, defensive players. Geno was better than expected. Hopefully that wasn't a fluke. But I like our spot right now as a hometown team for sure.
Yeah. And at number 1, the 49ers from San Francisco. These guys are a super team even without a quarterback. It's just ridiculous. Nick Bosa is a top 3 player in the entire league.
Wow.
Defense or offense. It's just ridiculous trying to play against that guy.
Offensive line, linebackers, cornerbacks, running backs, wide receivers
who can play running back.
Tight end. It just doesn't stop for that team. Outside of the Philadelphia Eagles, those are the 2 most stacked teams in the league. Hands down. It's not even close.
Up next, we have the 4th best division in football, the AFC North. And the last place team in this one is going to be the Steelers.
Dirty old Pittsburgh. With the Steelers, we're dealing with 2 promising but young wide receivers in Deontay and George Pickens. A questionable quarterback in Kenny Pickett. And I mean, the Steelers always have a solid defense, but the defense can only hold you to too much. I mean, TJ Watt's probably pulling his hair out as we speak.
Yeah, and he was injured a bit last year.
He was.
Hopefully he can get back because the league is better with the Watt brothers healthy. Cleveland is our number 3 team in the AFC North. The Browns, they have a strong running game, right, with Chubb, but they did just lose Hunt. So who knows how that'll be. I think Chubb is going to be just fine because he may be the best pure runner in the league. Their defense is solid. It's not bad. It's not great. I'd say 10 to 12.
Sure.
And then we need to see if Deshaun Watson can, focus on football and get his groove back.
Yeah.
There's just honestly too many questions with this team. So that's why they are at 3rd. At number 2, we have Baltimore.
Baltimore Ravens. They got their biggest re-signing probably in the history of their franchise, re-signing Lamar. They got added 2 key receiving weapons in Zay Flowers and Odell, which is very interesting. So I do like the Ravens in this division. They're going to be just as solid as always. They always fight. They're never a pushover team. Yeah. And we'll see what they can do if they can make it to the playoffs this year.
As long as Lamar can stay healthy and he can, use Mark Andrews as he should be.
Yes.
Because last year that was a huge missed opportunity. If they can have that be a point of emphasis this year, I think they make it.
Maybe if they get their running backs healthy, J.K. Dobbins, who else is there? They have a couple running backs, but...
Yeah. I have a few. And that just leaves Cincinnati. The Bengals are the biggest threat to the defending champs, the Chiefs.
That's their biggest kryptonite.
In the AFC. They have a strong offensive game. Their defense is good enough. I think they can make it through the playoffs. They might even make another Super Bowl run. We'll see. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase,
that wide receiver core is unbelievable.
Insane. Might be the top duo in the league. Bengals at number 1. The 3rd best division in the league is the NFC East. I like the NFC East a lot this year, and that's not just my Eagles bias saying something. The Commanders, we're starting there. They are 4th in this division. Who's going to start for them at quarterback? Is it going to be Sam Howell? Is it going to be Jacoby Brissett? Is it going to be Jake Fromm?
Is it going to be Carson Wentz? Oh, wait.
Oh, right. No. It's a bit of a question mark there. Outside of that, though, they have an excellent wide receiver trio, Dotson, McLaurin, and Curtis Samuel.
Solid.
Their running backs, Robinson and Gibson, they're legit threats. Their defense is still top tier. They have a lot of young stars. They have Sweat, Young, Curl, and Forrest.
Run, Forrest, run.
They just need to keep on, chugging along. That defense will be great. We just need a quarterback from the Commanders.
They are not a pushover.
At number 3 in this division, we have the New York Giants. This comes down to Daniel Jones. How is he going to play this year? Is he going to continue to progress and build on what foundation he has made so far?
Or continue to regress.
Right. All they have, really, is a bunch of mid receivers. They have Saquon, but he needs to get paid.
Yes.
Is he even going to be there? We need to see that.
And big questions from Darren Waller. He could play a huge part into their team this season, but without injuries playing a part, never know.
Moving on from that, number 2 in the division is the Dallas Cowboys. Their offense is electric with Dak when he is healthy and making the correct decisions. Last year, he did kind of get screwed by his wide receivers. A lot of interceptions were because of the receivers, but you can't put that on them. It's his fault. He is the quarterback. He needs to step up. This year, he is going to be with CD and new running back 1 there, Tony Pollard. With Zeke gone, can Pollard do it by himself?
Sprinkle in some Dalton Schultz and some Michael Gallup, and we will see how the Cowboys do. Most likely going to disappoint like they always do.
Right.
But I would put my money on them choking like they usually do.
Yeah. Defensive side of the ball, they're all right.
You think so?
They're just weak against the run.
Okay.
That's all. Let's see. And that leaves us with Philadelphia Eagles, one of my favorite teams in the league.
I'll sit back for this one.
They are the reigning NFC champs. There's virtually no weaknesses on this team. The only way that they get slowed down is injuries. No weaknesses on this team. Jalen Hurts is phenomenal. AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, they're just going to be great. Newly acquired Rashad Penny, I think he's going to step up over there. Even though they have
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, even over DeAndre Swift. They have like 7 running backs.
Goddard.
We'll see who's going to do it. Goddard at tight end, he's fantastic. Their defense is top 3 in the league. And they just got better. They just keep on drafting these Georgia guys. We'll see. I think they can return to the Super Bowl.
All right, back to our regular schedule program here. The second hardest division in football, which it has been for years now, is going to be the AFC West.
AFC West.
We're starting off with the Raiders. Outside of Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, and Max Crosby, what do you have? You have amateur porn star in Jimmy G, and a lot of mid-wide receivers. What are you going to use? Mac Hollins?
Yeah, no, it's going to be tough.
No more Darren Waller, so you don't have a tight end.
It's going to be tough for the Raiders. Third place in this division, we have the Denver Broncos. Can Russ return to his Seahawks days?
That's a very big question.
I don't know. Last year was really tough, but I will give it to him. A lot of injuries over there.
New head coach Sean Payton is back in the NFL.
Sean Payton back in the NFL. We'll see.
An offensive genius.
Oh man, I'm really excited just because I still do like Russ, even with everything that's gone on. Yeah, will the wide receivers produce this year? We don't know.
Cortland Sutton was the definition of Ghostbusters last year.
That was my downfall last year. I relied so much on Cortland Sutton, but yeah, I learned my mistake. Also, running game.
Is
we don't know.
Javonte healthy?
At second in the AFC West, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. Every year it comes down to health for this team. It seems like they're always half out because of injuries.
That, and they just have to stay consistent. They blew a 27-point lead in the playoffs to the Jaguars. I'm starting to get sick and tired of Herbert and this elite talk when he can't back up his talk. They need to make the next step. Herbert's been in the league for about 4 or 5 years now. Keenan Allen is not getting any younger.
We need to see Herbert to consistently produce. Mike Williams is injured all the time.
Yeah, he
needs to be back to when he was just producing what? In fantasy, he was scoring, 25, 27 points a game?
Right.
If he can get back to that, I think they're pretty good.
The most consistent thing on the Chargers is Eggman, Austin Eckler.
At number 1, we have the
reigning
Kansas City
Super Bowl champions.
Chiefs. Until proven otherwise, they're first. Every year, if they win the Super Bowl, they're just first.
If you think about how incredible the Chiefs are, we don't even really talk about their defense. Their defense is mid. They beat these all-around teams just with their offense alone. And no wide receivers. Who's their wide receiver?
MVS.
And he'll probably still make it to the AFC Championship at least.
Probably. Pro Bowl season, MVS. You heard it here.
So insane. Just what Patrick Mahomes is able to do with some of his weapons is just ridiculous. I really like Isaiah Pacheco a lot. Kadarius Toney has a lot of potential, but he's also injury prone. And Travis Kelce is, probably the greatest tight end of all time at this point.
The first place division in the NFL.
AFC East.
The AFC East over there. Every division has the worst team, and that is the New England Patriots. Their defense will still be elite. I'm not saying they're bad. But the offense, where do I start there?
Is it going to be Zappy? Is it going to be Mac Jones? Who is it going to be? You failed to sign DeAndre Hopkins. Instead, you give an extension to Devontae Parker.
Yeah.
And then you sign Juju. Not great.
Smith-Schuster and Devontae Parker.
That's not quite. I'd rather have a 38-year-old DeAndre Hopkins than a 28-year-old Devontae Parker.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for that offense. Either way they go with quarterback, I'm not excited.
Ramondre is a bright spot.
But that's it. They're going to be fourth in the division. At third, we have the Miami Dolphins. It was really hard to choose between the Jets and the Dolphins for me, but the Jets have Brees and their defense, so I barely put the Jets above.
Tua's concussion history is also not the best. Give the Dolphins a lot of credit. They almost nudged out a victory against the Bills in the playoffs last year, but they're going to have Tyreek. Their running game is fairly questionable, but lots of options on offense, and their defense is pretty okay. It's okay.
Dolphins went 1-1 in the regular season against the Bills, but then failed to do it in the playoffs. So
yes,
that's where they're at. At number 2 in this division, we have the New York Jets. Like I hinted at, they have Garrett Wilson, they have Breece Hall, and a whole slew of wide receivers and tight ends from the Green Bay Packers. And
Aaron Rodgers.
They have one of the best quarterbacks of the past 10 years on their team now. We'll see how he does. Ayahuasca Aaron. We'll see.
A top 5 defense in the league.
Absolutely. They're going to be better too.
They are. There's no more excuses for Aaron. You have a great defense. You have weapons, so go get it done.
Their only obstacle this year will be the Buffalo Bills, who we have in first place in the East. These guys, they beat the Dolphins twice, like I said last year, once in the wild card round. They also went head-to-head against the Pats and beat them twice. The Bills ran the division last year. Allen, Diggs, and Gabe Davis, one of my favorite players in the league. They are dynamic. They're phenomenal. They're excellent. And really, they just have the track record. They will compete in every game, and they can beat every team.
The big question mark is going to be their running game. So
that's right. They signed Damian Harris, and they also have Nyheim Hines still, and they have James Cook. So 3 okay running backs.
Sure. And Josh Allen needs to show up in the big moments. Is he gonna? He's on that same boat with Herbert with me. All these MVP candidates, blah blah blah, and then the playoffs hit.
But he gets the votes. I think that Josh Allen is better than Herbert.
I do too. I do too. But are you gonna put on your big boy pants and take Mahomes out?
We'll see.
We shall see. And that was our power ranking video, ladies and gentlemen.
Just to recap real quick, very last, AFC South, then NFC South, then NFC North.
Not too hot in the South this year.
Not at all. And then NFC West, AFC North is next, NFC East, AFC West, and then to top everybody off, AFC East.
Look at the AFC just dominating like they usually do.
Yeah, we know that though. AFC is the conference to beat. Thank you for joining us on the Tuddy Talks podcast this week. We'll be back next week.
This is Devin, aka Kamish. This is Gifford. And just remember that New York used to be named New Orange. See you next week.
See ya.